way, the great thunder giant Thor, the thunder god, stretched out, burped loudly, he always did, moved, oh my head. Well, it had been a bit of a night before. The thunder god had had an awful lot of beer. I don't feel so wrecked for ages, oh my head. And he reached around. Now the Thor, the great thunder god, always did something in the early morning. The very first thing he always did, after stretching and burping, was to get his hammer, his holy hammer, the hammer in which the safety of men, gods, elves rested. The hammer which made him invincible. The hammer that he would wield at the last great battle, at Ragnarok itself. That hammer. And Thor stretched out on this particular day to where he always put his hammer, down behind his head. Hang on, it's not there. Nope. Where did I put that hammer? Is it under my bed? Oh, I know, I once threw it over the door. And he reached over the door, and his hammer was missing. And now Thor really started to get worried. You know when you lose something, and there's that moment you actually suddenly realise you really have lost it. Anybody else do that? You think originally I'll find it, and then there's that moment where you go, uh-oh, this is lost, and you think, hang on, has it been stolen? And Thor was at that moment now, and he looked everywhere. He looked here, he looked there, he looked everywhere in his bedroom, he took everything out. There was no hammer. Now Thor, great thunder giant, thunder god as he was, started to go anxious at this point. Because as we've said, this was the holy hammer of the gods! It was on this hammer that the entire safety of men and elves, dwarves rested. And he had lost it. He knew there was only one thing he could do. He went into the very hall of the gods, where old One-Eye, King of the gods, held council then as he holds council now. And he went before One-Eye, and One-Eye said, have you really lost it? And Thor said, I think I have. And One-Eye said, alright, this is what we're going to do. We're going to send Loki, the cunning one, invisible. I will make him invisible for a while, and he'll fly through the world, and he'll see if he can spy who has the holy hammer, because we must get it back. Come what may, we must get that hammer back. If I have to sell you into slavery, Thor, we will get that. And so Loki was given the cloak of invisibility, a special gift of Odin. And cunning as he was, he borrowed the sandals of Freya, the beautiful love goddess. And with them he could fly. But he wasn't worried about that because he's a fire god and this is flame. And the flame stretched out behind him and he flew around the world, quite invisible. Round and round and round he flew. And he didn't see it. He didn't see it with the elves. He didn't see it with the dwarves. He didn't see it with men. And he came at last to mighty Jontime. And who do you think lives in Jontime? If you've been paying attention, you'll know. It is the giants! And he flew over Jontime, and just at that moment, Thrym, Lord of the Giants, the mighty bane of the gods, looked up, and with his bright eye, he spied Loki, visible as he was, and he said, Loki, I can see you! That is no good. If Thor wants his hammer, tell him that I, Thrym, King of the Giants, have it, and I will not give it back. Not at all. Not unless you, the gods, give me Freya. Love's goddess! Beautiful Freya! To be my bride. And Loki flew back to the gods and he explained how it was. Well, Thor said, well, that's easy. Okay, Love's goddess, most beautiful creature in the world. Get your kit on, put on your bridal train, you're off to marry a horrible hairy giant. It might not be what you wanted, but it'll keep us all safe. Now Freya was not of the same race. She was a Vanir that come from the Eastlands, and she stood up and said, "No, I will not marry a giant to save your lives. I will stand against all the gods." But she was not alone, because just at that moment her brother Frey and her old father Njord stood by her side and they drew their swords. And now there was silence in all the hall, because people feared the war that had started was going to start again. And in terror there was silence. But old One Eye had been having one of his ideas, and they could see that, because when One Eye Odin has an idea, he chuckles. I'm a bit like that when I have an idea too. And he suddenly said, "I know what we will do. Listen then to what old One Eye says. What we're going to do is we're going to send Thrym a bride, sure enough, but it better not be Freya. What makes Freya so beautiful is on her necklace she wears a necklace, the holy bristlet, that makes her irresistible to gods and men and giants. Let us put the bristlet on Thor, the mighty thunder god. Let us make him put on a bridal gown. Let's put on his belt a jangling set of household keys, and we will send him forth disguised." And all the gods laughed and laughed and laughed. Because Thor had a massive beard, because Thor had great muscles. But then Loki said, "That's very funny, One Eye. But there's a trouble. Nobody would mistake old Thor for Freya. It isn't gonna happen." And One Eye looked at him with his one eye burning blue and said, "Oh, it is Loki, because you are going to go with him. You're going to dress up his bridesmaid, and I will send you all off." So they took the mighty thunder god, they shaved off his beard, they put on him a bridal veil. Around his middle they gave a dangling set of household keys. And Thor went forth disguised. He flew in his holy chariot drawn by two great ghosts, flew to Jotunheim, and Thrym was looking out. And when he looked out, he saw two figures coming towards him. And one of them he could see from that distance was wearing the holy bristlet that makes the wearer irresistible to gods and men, giants, elves and dragons. And he laughed and said, "She's coming! Bring beer, bring ale, bring jewels. Wealth and abundance has been fine, but there is nothing I shall not lack. Now Freya, love's goddess, will be mine." And the chariot rode into the central hall in Jotunheim. And Thrym bade his bride, come here, come to our bridal feast, my dear." And soon he laid out great big amounts of meat. More cows roasted than even Thor the Thunder God had ever seen. And he suddenly realised something. "Oh, it feels like an age since I've eaten." And he got ready, forgetting where he was. And he ate in one great big gulp. 7 cattle, all off, bones and all, and a great big grinning thunder god gulp. And when Thrym said that, hang on, how come love's goddess can eat so much, but look so good? For the holy bristlet was burning bright, that it made everybody irresistible. And cunning Loki kept his head near enough. For 7 long days she has not ate, she's longed for giant. And then Thor's mind turned to drink. "Oh, that looks like good mead," he said. And he took the greatest flagon of the giants, and he drank it all off in one gulp. Put it down. And again Thrym, the king of the thunder giants, king of the frost giants, launched at this and said, How come love's goddess can drink so much? No giants may drink so much and look so good. For the holy bristling was burning bright, that made one irresistible to gods and men. And cunning Loki kept his head, and he an answer found. For 7 long days she has not drunk, she's longed for giants. Now Thrym got frisky. He thought he had done enough of the courtship. This was the moment he was going to explode. and he thought he would steal a kiss from it. And he lifted up the veil and suddenly he looked back where he stared right in the eyes of a furious thunder god, the like of which seldom people. And he said, how come love's goddess looks so angry? Fire burns from both her eyes. But cunning Loki kept his head and he an answer found. For 7 long days she has not slept. She's longed for giant land. Now Thrym got ready. He wanted to get married as soon as he possibly could and get on with it. So he took the great holy hammer and he said, since I took this, have it now. Let us be married upon Thor's hammer together, and we will be king and queen of everything. And she put, as token of his good faith, the holy hammer on Thor's legs. And when the son of Odin felt his hammer in his hands back more, there was fierce joy in his heart. He stood up. Suddenly, the very first blow, he struck Thrym low and laid him to the ground. And then one by one those mighty giants fell from thunderbolts. And so it was the son of Odin got his hammer back once more.